What's going on, people? Fam Entertainment here from LV1Gamer.com. Thank you guys for rocking with me once again for another 15 minutes of fame. Today's going to be a very exciting episode as my brother from across the pond will be hanging out with me today. Andy from Streamcast, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me on. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. It's morning for me, and I kind of got the morning face going on a little bit. I know it's afternoon for you. I wish I was more in the afternoon. I think I would have more energy. I wouldn't have that. Oh, he just woke up face. But I'm super excited. I'm super excited to talk with you. I recently found your content not too long ago, and I'm super excited to learn more about you, more about Streamcast. But today's 15 minutes of fame, and we're gonna jump right into it. So with that being said, cue the music.
For 15 minutes of fame, I can settle for being ordinary. But nobody remembers the ordinary. It's the ones who live forever. Trendsetters, trendsetters. Break the bar. Cause not everybody can be trendsetters, trendsetters. Break the bar. It's the only way I gotta be.
All right, guys, I'm going to put 15 minutes on the clock. Andy, it is your world. Go at it.
All right. So my name is Andy, aka Blackamura, co-founder and director of Streamcast. We do a bunch of content. We're a black-owned company. We do podcasts, we do live streams, we do blog posts, we do bespoke YouTube videos. Like we covered the indie scene over the past couple of decades. We covered accessibility, stuff like that. We cover Comic-Con and other events that cover gaming. But today, I've been invited on level 1 to talk about God of War because you can't get me on without getting God of War. You know it's going to happen. It's a certainty, like the three certainties of life: death, taxes, and me talking about God of War. I'm going to get into it and why God of War is just old. So a lot of people have started their journey with the 2018 classic, and I am going to call it a classic because I think it's been out long enough. We could call it that.
Ooh.
In my opinion, the best game on the PS4. I'd go further and say it's the best game I've ever played.
Preach.
So I tried to reserve my 10 out of 10s, and so far I can recall 2 games that I've given 10 out of 10. And of course these are personal, so these ratings don't really matter to anyone else, but they matter to me. God of War and Last of Us 2. I'm going to talk about God of War. This is a game that has perfected the art of putting storytelling and then translating it into game mechanics. The game starts off with Kratos and Atreus, and he is the Kratos you remember if you've played the previous games. He's a grumpy Greek god, and he doesn't like anyone. He doesn't like anything, and unfortunately his son falls into that anything. So we have this really awkward, tense situation with father and son, and he doesn't know how to talk to his son. He doesn't know how to relate to him, how to love him, but he does love his son. We know this because he goes out and he hunts. He makes sure that Atreus is fed, and he protects him. Atreus doesn't understand that kind of love because he's been around his mother for the first 10 years of his life, and that's really where we're at. You know, his mum has just passed, and we are fulfilling this wish to spread the ashes. Atreus wants to be like his dad now. He wants to be fighting. He knows he's got the knowledge. He knows the theory behind fighting, but he doesn't know how to put pen to paper, so to speak. And we see this in the first troll fight, like the tutorial boss, if you've played a Soulsborne game. Atreus loses his cool, and Kratos is immediately like, okay, we are stopping right now. You're not ready, boy. Let's call it a night. I'll do this by myself. Before Atreus can even persuade him otherwise, he gets a knock on the door, and it is the stranger, and I'll keep it that way for now, just to keep it in line for people who haven't played the game yet. And the stranger says a lot of things that me, who has played the Greek games, I'm like, okay, this guy knows he's Greek. This guy knows he's a god. He says, you're a long way from home. I thought you'd be bigger, and you are supposed to be so much more enlightened, so much better than us. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy knows about Kratos' past, and that's kind of cool. They're going right into it, and he's scrawny in comparison to Kratos. So he lays hands, and we're just like, hey, this guy doesn't know. We're about to smack him up. Kratos punches him one time, and we're like, all right, cool. Yeah, now he's gonna run away. And he drops this line saying, "I'm so disappointed. I thought you'd give me more than this." And then he uppercuts him, to the other side of the house. And then we're like, okay, all right, this guy means business. Lengthy boss fight afterwards, and he drops the bombshell that he's not been feeling any of the punches you've been dealing him this entire fight. Almost like Heath Ledger's Joker in terms of delivery.
Oh, nice. That's a nice comparison. I like that.
Yeah, it made me feel like he's almost out of his own body. He doesn't care about anything that's going on. He likes the chaos, and we believe that we've killed this guy. We did the rear naked choke, like my MMA, so I did that. That was really cool. But there was this nice little moment where they're on top of the house, and the stranger breaks the roof in, and he spots 2 beds, something that if you're not paying attention, you miss. And I think this game is just a ton of like little moments that if you miss, you get a good game, but if you catch those little moments, you get more of a game. You get a 3D story. You get a story that could be easily turned into a movie or a TV series. And that's why I really like this game. There's a lot of freedom. You explore this world of Midgard, and there isn't really a right way to fight. And you see this with the different enemies that you've got. You've got the Hellwalkers who resist your axe, so you have to either fight barehanded or use a weapon that you find later on in the game. And then you also have your plain Draugr, who the axe does very excellently against. And then you find these ancients who I think in the story actually suck your soul. So there's very different ways to fight with each of these enemies. But yeah, honestly, the amount of different ways to fight enemies I've seen online has really enlightened me. Things that I've not thought about before, and you've seen people use the axe to basically have the environment on their side. So like there's a chandelier at the top. It's not the actual name, but I'm gonna call it.
There
that.
You go. That works.
Fire at the top. Someone throw the axe and gets the thing falling down on enemies, and they all burn and die instantly. Whereas I was more of a brute. I'd run in there, punch everyone up, swing my axe, wreck stuff up, and leave. So I think the amount of utility and options allowed to the player to just paint. Basically, the game was an empty canvas, and they could paint whatever they wanted on it. And as long as you didn't die, you're not wrong. So that kind of stuff I really enjoyed. But the real subtlety in how Kratos relates to his son throughout the game is what I really appreciate. At the start, he's telling him off. He's telling him your timing is off. Because Atreus, he primarily uses a bow and arrow. So he's telling him to like breathe right and don't just shoot haphazardly. And then towards the middle of the game, he starts to get complimentary. He's starting to say, good job. He's starting to say, you did well there. And towards the end of the game, where they kind of like fight together as one, that really makes me feel good. I've never cried while playing the game, but that brought me pretty damn close. There was another game, Last of Us 1, and there's a scene like 5 minutes in that.
Oh yeah.
And for a completely different reason, the end of this game almost brought me to tears, because it's just remembering how Kratos. It was almost like a disowning. Like he didn't want anything to do with his son. He didn't want to claim him. He wasn't proud. And towards the middle, where he gets sick, and then at the end, when they're fighting together against the stranger once again, they take him out. And at the end, where Kratos has been very protective over the ashes, refusing to give Atreus ownership of the ashes, at the end, he just gives him the bag to hold. And he ensures that they spread the ashes together, which is very important, because it's Kratos understanding that this woman was just as much my wife as she was his mother. And I do not have the right to withhold this power, this moment from him. And he doesn't call him boy, which he has been doing for the first 20 hours of the game. He calls him by his first name, and I think that is intentional. That is supposed to bring them closer together. And then you find the backstory behind the name Atreus, which is really cool. He was named after one of the soldiers. Yeah, in ancient Greece. I really love that. I theorize that that's the name of the last soldier. If you played God of War 2, you know who I'm referring to, but I don't think it was ever officially named, so that's just a bit of headcanon for me. But yeah, that's it, God of War. I'm so excited for Ragnarok, just because now there are so many questions that the first game has left for us, because there's a moment in the God of War game where Kratos goes to another dimension, and he leaves Atreus in charge of the axe, and I'm worrying, okay, this guy probably just left his son to die out there with all these beasts out there. He comes back and Atreus has killed everyone, or it seems that way. I want to know whether Atreus actually swung the axe or someone came in to protect him. I want to know whether, well, it seems from the trailer, it seems Freya is hostile towards us. Does that mean that she's on a deal? She's worked out a deal with Odin, because it's made clear in the game that Odin has stripped her of any warrior spirit. She can't fight anyone or anything. He is quite clearly ready to take Kratos' soul out of his body. So have they come to an agreement? Has the death of the stranger? That's a big spoiler, I know.
Yeah.
But
Right. Listen, at this point, this is where we are, right? You should have played the game by now. Game of the generation, right?
I mean, they give people a week to watch MCU films. We've given you like 3 years to play this game. Please, get it together. So yeah, Freya is very ready to kill us, and probably, I don't think she's ready to kill Atreus, but she's ready to kill Kratos. There is a moment in the game where Kratos and Atreus are sick. Someone blows the horn to summon the world serpent, and we only see those two around the horn. So someone else has come, and we want to know who that is. I want to know whether time travel is going to play as much of a factor as they imply in the 2018 title. There's so many questions, and I can't wait. God of War 10 out of 10. I do remember people were arguing whether Red Dead Redemption 2 should have won Game of the Year. Absolutely not, because God of War was a better game, and I will die on that hill, and I can't wait for Ragnarok to win Game of the Year this year.
So let me ask you 2 questions, Andy. First question. We're already in spoiler territory, so we're here, right? So how excited are you? Because we all know what happens when you go back home. When Kratos goes home and he walks outside, we know whose city got there. So my first question is, how excited are you for that encounter between Kratos and Thor, number 1? And number 2, after you do that, I want you to tell us, if I'm scrolling YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and I come across Streamcast, what can I expect? What can I expect from your content? But let's go to your excitement for Kratos and Thor first.
Yes, I was very happy to find that out, and I ensured that I did that in my own playthrough. I told everyone to do it. Go home after you finish God of War. That cutscene is delicious. I cannot wait for that fight. I think that's my most anticipated thing in the Ragnarok, because that's going to happen. We've known Thor in other forms for many, many years, and it's not the MCU Thor, but it's still
This
Thor.
is the real Thor.
Yeah, there's going to be certain characteristics that we're going to be like, okay, I remember that from or 2 or whatever, and there's going to be a lot of characteristics where, okay, this is, I don't know how much I can go into, I don't know if I can swear, this is going to be brutish Thor, this is going to be the Thor that wipes out an entire race of giants. This is that Thor, and I'm glad that he's going to be fat, because we need body positivity in our games. Hey, all types of bodies they're real, and we need this. I love it. I can't wait for Kratos to kill Thor and use Mjolnir as a weapon, because I want that to happen. That's it. If I don't, it's not worth it if I can't use Mjolnir afterwards, because that's what I want.
This is true. Now, if someone's new, they're watching this and they're like, man, this Andy Cat, I like him. Streamcast, I want to know more about them. What do you want people to take from Streamcast, or something, a reason why they should come and check you guys out?
Good question. If you do enjoy Streamcast, if you've enjoyed this, or if you come across us, you can expect gaming, you can expect banter, you can expect authenticity. As I said, we are black gamers who love gaming. We started this platform because we didn't see many black content creators at the time. We were doing a lot of research. We saw a few American ones. We didn't see any black British content creators, and thank God that's changed now. But that's really why we started this. We didn't see our faces. We didn't see people who sounded and looked like us, you know, on those IGNs, on those GameSpots, and we're trying to change that. We do a lot of content stream cast, so you can expect us to do a lot of live streams on Twitch and YouTube, Streamcast TV and Streamcast respectively. And cast, we do a lot of podcasting on our YouTube, youtube.com/Streamcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. We talk about diversity, and we also cover the latest gaming news. So, for example, Microsoft acquiring Activision, we go into detail about that. That's a big deal in more ways than one. So anything that's worth talking about in the games industry, we talk about. We also like to promote our own. So we love black people, whether they're American, British, Australian, or from anywhere else in the world. We want to promote you, we want to work with you, and we just want to take over the world.
I guarantee you this is it's going to be sort of a beautiful relationship with Level 1 and Streamcast, because we are as well, we're black owned, we're about pushing, you know, inclusivity, you know, in particular people that look like us, people that sound like us, but also, you know, everyone else who may be underly, and I'm gonna stop the timer, right, because I'm about to go on a soapbox here, like, forget all of that, right? We talk about something important here. People who, you know, who look like us or don't look like us, but are underrepresented in the gaming industry. We push that as well. So I can tell you right now, I mean, this is going to be the start of a beautiful relationship, I hope, between Level 1 and Streamcast. And I'm gonna tell you guys off the rip, everything I'm a scrub the internet. Everything I can find about Andy, the good stuff, I'm gonna put it in the description down below. If I come across his OnlyFans or something, I'm gonna keep that a secret for himself. But oh, you know what? OnlyFans will be the first link you see. Okay.
Pandemic was rough on us.
Listen, man, I really appreciate you coming out, Rock. Listen, I'm even more excited to play God of War now than I was before this conversation, man. I know a lot of people who are hardcore God of War fans weren't necessarily a fan of 2018 because of the change. I personally enjoyed the change from the previous games to what 2018 was, and in my opinion, 2018 was the game of last generation, and I wouldn't be shocked if Ragnarok wasn't that game for next gen. And I'm hoping we get it this year. Something smells like 2023 to me.
I think it's 50-50. Yeah, I'm not sure. They keep saying it, but they also said that about Horizon Forbidden West last year, so 50-50.
So if we get a delay, hopefully it's not too long. But listen, man, everything about Streamcast, everything about Andy, I'm find in the description. If you guys are watching this at lv1gaming.com, make sure you guys click the link on the YouTube channel to make sure that you can see his links. I'll also put them in the description of the article as well. Again, I guarantee you guys, you're gonna go see more content between Level 1 and Streamcast coming up soon, because I mean, I love this guy, right? It's only been 15 minutes, and I love this guy. Very energetic, the smile, the humor. It's going to be awesome. But Andy, thank you again for rocking with me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed every second of it.
Awesome. Listen, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Go to everything Streamcast. Do it, or I'm going to get you. You guys have a great one, and we're out.